Check. Recording. Here we go.
Let's go.
Boom. Here we go. It's episode 47. He's Jason Ginty. My name is Rod Ryan, and we are recording the podcast a little bit early today. Normally we record on Wednesdays. We're going to record on Tuesday night. I got a big golf tournament, the Rod Ryan Show Charity Golf Open, trying to raise some money for Texas Adaptive Aquatics. So yeah, it's a little weird being in here on a Tuesday, but we can adapt. And actually, the fact that we're recording on this day, there's a lot of history on this day. We like to talk a lot of music on this show. And unfortunately, we do talk a lot of death on this show. But there were two really, really big, significant deaths that happened on this day. But we'll get into it a little bit because even though the deaths happened on this day, it wasn't when we found out either one of them. One was laying there for quite a while. So we'll get into some of that. I talked about my skateboarding, and if you're watching the YouTube channel,
geez.
are you watching the YouTube channel?
Dude, that's like, did you just do that like 5 minutes ago? That's awful.
I did that about an hour and a half ago. I'm showing the world my elbow, and bam, I scraped up pretty good. That's it. That's the only thing I got, although I landed on my hip, and I took an Advil. We'll see how I feel tomorrow. But
what the fuck, dude? That's
practicing the skateboard. Boom.
A Band-Aid on that thing, dude.
Well, I'm letting the air hit it. I got a little Neosporin on it.
That's a wound. That's a wound.
And then coming up on Thursday is going to be John Oates. And I floated this by you. I was expecting you to say, no, fuckface. We're not doing that. I said, hey, dude, Oates is having a birthday. Oates is going to be 74 from Daryl Hall and John Oates. I said, what about a top 5 Hall and Oates song? I'm ready for you to say, hey, idiot. No, stop asking me dumb shit.
You know,
your response was,
cool.
The top 5 sounds pretty good.
Yeah. And I think because it gets us out of our wheelhouse just a little bit. Now it's a little bit of an older artist. So it might be, we might lose some people along the way, but that's all right. It's our fucking show. We do what we want.
I was surprised that you okayed that. I'm telling you, I was absolutely ready for you to like say, no. I floated much better top 5s past you that you've turned down before.
It could be two things, Rod. A, lazy, didn't want to fucking work too hard and come up with another one. Sometimes you just fucking go for it. And I thought this would be cool because it's been a while since I dove into any Hall and Oats. Like I'm a fair weather fan of Hall and Oats. I don't love them, but I like them. And it got me getting down that road, going down the musical fucking wormhole on YouTube earlier today.
When we were springing the clocks forward, and I always throw Jason a bunch of different options, and he does the same to me. We're bouncing stuff back and forth. When we were turning the clocks ahead, I get excited because the sun's going to be out a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And I like it being daylight out. And if I go to bed at 8:30 and it's starting to get dark a little bit, that's perfect for me. I need it. Eating dinner at 5 o'clock is just a terrible thing for me. I hate it. Eating dinner at 5 o'clock and it's dark outside.
Worst.
So we're going to get some more sunlight. I'm like, dude, top 5 songs about the sun. We could put, you're like, nah.
Yeah. Here comes the sun.
What?
Shower.
Called Sun King. Here comes the sun. Are you kidding me? There was a million of them. Katrina and the Waves, Walking on Sunshine.
That's pretty good too. Yeah, no, yeah, that's not a bad one, I guess. I don't know. This one just felt good. I don't know. It hit right. It just felt.
I couldn't believe you okayed Hall and Oates and you shit on my top 5 Sun songs.
Yeah, I don't know. It just felt too easy. I don't know why I said no, dude. I don't know. It was a couple weeks ago, so who gives a shit? So, Rod, I wanted to try something this week. We get emails. Right. And we love the emails, man. We get a lot of cool shit.
We get letters. Didn't Letterman used to have like a cool little song.
Yeah.
They would do letters and the band would letters. We get letters.
We don't have a band. So I get emails and we try to get back to, and you forward me emails that you get sent to you and I get to read them. And it's very cool. I love hearing what people got to say. It's kind of neat. Right. So I got something a little different this week. Okay. I got something a little different. So we're going to try this. If it doesn't work, I'm going to edit this part out and who gives a fuck? If it works, well, son of a bitch, we got something brand new on the old podcast that we can expand on from this point forward. I'm very excited about.
Okay.
So last episode, go back and listen to it if you haven't, or watch it on YouTube. Please like and smash that subscribe button. We're talking about AC/DC. We did our top 5 favorite AC/DC songs.
Yeah.
Right? Dude, of course, what do I do all weekend? I'm cranking the shit out of AC/DC all weekend, man. It was fucking wild. I forgot how just great they are, you know? So anyway, you made a statement on the podcast, right? And we talked about Hell's Bells and the bell. Now I'm going to play back what you said. Okay. All right. Just go with us on this. Okay. Now this is Rod from last week, and just nod your head up and down if you can hear it, Rod, so that we know that we're not fucking wasting our time here. Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. This is you and your statement about Hell's Bells from last week's episode.
Go back and listen to that song and try to tap your toe to the bell. And it's an odd time signature. It really is. It's not on the downbeat. Right. And it's difficult, but he plays it. Right. That bell, if you listen to it, it's not perfect syncopation. It tends to drive me as a drummer a little nutty, but it works though. It does work. It's just, It's an odd time signature, the way that he wraps his guitar around the bell, because the bell is what's kind of keeping time.
So we're back live.
Okay.
That was you from last week because we were talking about Hell's Bells, and I explained the story about how they had the bell custom made. And you said, yeah, it always kind of weirds you out, like you just said, because it feels like it's off time and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
Me not being a musician, I'm just like, yeah, cool, bro. Good story. I don't know.
What the fuck are you talking about?
But it worked. It totally was cool. I was like, all right, fine. And it made sense when you said it. So, my brother-in-law, Gabriel, listens to the podcast every week. He doesn't like send me any messages or emails. He just goes, dude, I love the podcast. I didn't know that about this band. He loves listening to us because of all the music stuff. And he learns a lot about his bands that he loves. He loves listening to the music we talk about, and he loves the back stories and all that shit. He drops me a voicemail, 2 days after the podcast was published. And I'm just going to play his voicemail back.
All right.
And then we're going to be getting some comments from you, I am sure. You ready? This is my brother-in-law, Gabriel, who, by the way, a very accomplished musician, very, very accomplished drummer. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
He's awesome. Okay. This is his message.
What's happening, dude? So I'm listening to the podcast. I'm going like, I don't know that Hell's Bells is an odd time signature, but I've never paid attention to it. So I listened to it, and it's in 4/4, but it comes from the beat 2. So once the guitar riff starts, if you go like, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, bell, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, bell, 2, 4, 1. If you count 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, the bell actually comes in the beat of 2. And if you were to backtrack and put it on a metronome, the first bell's hitting on beat 2, not beat 1. And so that's what makes it disorienting, which is clever of AC/DC, but also it's very much in time, it's 4/4. And next time just be like, ask a musician dork segment, and then you can clarify this stuff. For those people who know music, I'm like, no, that's not in a fucking odd time signature, Rod. It's just in displaced beat from normally rock and rollers.
So anyway, and now we're back live. So this is a little bit too drummy for me. And I know we've got other guys who play the drums, listen to this podcast. So this is going to just fucking spiral out of control, I'm pretty sure now. But that was his statement on your statement of the drums. Now, explain to me what he just said, will you please? Because he's saying it came on the downbeat. So this is going to get technical.
It comes down. So 4/4 time is 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. All right. Quarter note gets the beat, meaning 4 notes per phrase. So there's 4 beats per measure.
Gotcha.
Quarter note gets the beat. I know that's probably weird, but he's saying that the bell comes in on 2. So 1, 2, bell, 3, 4, 1, bell, 3, 4, 1, bell, 3, 4. I got to go back and see if it keeps it. I mean, it does sound like, the bell is consistent, and I just felt like the way that the guitar was wrapped around it. And I likened it to Queen, because I always felt like Brian May could just kind of like be all over the place, and it sounded like he wasn't in time. Slash can do that a little bit too, and then he can just somehow just get back into it. So I guess I'm going to have to go back and listen to it. He's probably not wrong, because he's a really good drummer. I know the skill level of your brother-in-law, so I'm assuming that he's 100% correct.
So I just thought it was interesting because he sent that. I'm like, oh shit. Well, this is going to be a new little thing on the podcast. People drop me voicemails. I'm fucking playing it back. Now he's listening to this right now and probably shitting his pants, like, what the fuck? I can't leave him a message anymore because he's just going to use it and play it back.
Oh yeah,
so,
we're gonna record everything that you say.
Yeah. So we're recording everything. Everything is usable on this podcast. So I guess let me just get a little more drummy, and then we'll move on. It's like the New Orleans beat, the New Orleans style. They always talk about like laying back or really being behind the beat, like they're late to that beat. It's a different style. And I know you know what I'm talking about here. Where a lot of people come in right on the time, where New Orleans drummers will be a little bit late to all the...
Because it goes back to jazz, and jazz is more of a shuffle.
Right.
So it's not so, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's real, the New Orleans music is not real straight time. You're right. It's more of a shuffle. And then, you're using quarter notes, and then you're using eighth notes to get into it. So yeah, it creates a different feel rather than just a real straight 4/4 time, and it's just, and it's just live, and it just the timing is, it's just, you're playing in the moment, So
right.
When you're recording, it's in time, but it's just, yeah, you're right. You can play a little behind the beat, you can play ahead of the beat and still be in time.
Right. I know that John Bonham, one the greatest, according to a lot of people over the years from Led Zeppelin, he was all over the place. When you put it on a grid, he was
the stuff that he did
worked.
The stuff that he did and the time signatures that he did, it was insane. I've got a video, and I'm gonna post it up. 2 people will watch it. Me and your brother-in-law. If he hasn't seen it, he'll find it interesting. But there's a guy, and he's just doing, okay, this is 4/4 time. Doom, doom, da, doom, 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 da, doom, doom. And then he goes, all right. And then he changes time signature, and he puts it on the screen so you can see the different time signatures. And you can see what he's got to do to make everything kind of syncopate. And it is really interesting. I'll find that. I'll put it up on our social media. I think 2 people will watch it, and we might not have anybody listening right now.
I'm pretty sure we don't, but I just thought it was kind of cool. I was like, okay, wait a minute. This is neat, man. And this is not, this is like a version of an email. We get emails. Hey, you guys fucked up. Hey, you guys did this. Oh, okay, cool. And then,
oh yeah, every week. So then I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting thing. And I thought, well, let's bring it to the table. Let's bring it to the room. Everyone can get in on it. And then our drummer friends who listen to the podcast can chime in and let us know what they think. And I won't read it because it's too fucking drummy. The maddening thing is when you listen to Soundgarden, their stuff is all over the place, man. Right. The crazy time signatures, and that goes back to Chris Cornell being a drummer. So he wanted to do that stuff. He wrote his songs. Spoon Man is just not a normal time signature. It's not a straight tap your toe 1, 2, 3, 4. Try tapping your toe to Spoon Man. It's not that easy, but it still moves, and the song still moves down the field. And then when they saw what Matt Cameron was doing, they said that's going to be our guy. They just couldn't go get any drummer.
Right.
And I remember asking Chris Cornell when he was in Audio Slave, and he brought that up. I mean, I've said this before about Chris. He wasn't, and I say Chris like I knew him. I interviewed him half a dozen times, and I asked him about Audio Slave doing some Rage stuff, and then I said, "What about doing some Soundgarden stuff? What are you guys going to do?" This was early on when they just started. And he even alluded to, made it sound like the Rage stuff was easier. I don't remember exactly how he said it, but he's the one that brought up all the time signatures. And I'm sure the drummer from Rage could do it, but it was different. It really was all the Soundgarden stuff. Very few songs are toe tapping. Wait a minute. Why am I was tapping my foot a second ago, and then now I'm not in line with what he's saying.
Right.
He brought that up to me, and I thought that was really interesting. And I said, because you're a drummer, that's how you write your songs. And he goes, of course. He goes, that's where it goes back to. He was rhythmic based.
Right.
And then he just played his guitar like a drummer would.
Right. Which is what Dave Grohl really did. A lot of that stuff is very percussive. That Dave
he does, but Dave's real straightforward though.
Right.
Dun, 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 all my life. It's a different approach. Yeah. It's just that Chris really experimented with time signatures.
Yeah. I think I read an interview one time with Brad Wilk, the drummer for Rage, and then on to Audio Slave. And I think he even said, he goes, yeah, man, we're in this practice space trying to work up a Soundgarden song. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What are you doing? And he had to like really, really work to get those songs right. It's from one of the interview I read about that. So
yeah, Matt Cameron is sick. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Like he's so next level. And, you know, Tool does a lot of stuff with time signatures. Tool's like even on another planet, you know, it's like fucking math rock.
Right.
It's like you have to be mathematical. You have to have an abacus to figure out what Tool's doing sometimes. I mean, if you're in the band, you don't even want to think about it. Just let them do it. If I start dissecting it, I can't enjoy it. Like, okay, what's he doing here? What?
Well, you know what? That's a great follow-up question I have for you before we start this podcast. Is when you're a musician, and see, I don't know shit about music and playing it. So it's a fair question. I think like when you're a musician, okay, you play the drums and there's a lot of people who listen to this podcast who can play guitar and all that shit, right? Can you just listen to a song, or are you always trying to dissect it or think about what the drummer's doing if you're a drummer? Or can you just listen to the damn song?
I'm amazed that I have any teeth left. I play the drums. I couldn't believe when Dave Grohl said that in an interview. I'd never verbalized it. I had never said it out loud. And I went, holy shit, someone else does that. And then when he said it, I talked to another friend. He's like, yeah, I do that too. I play the drums on my teeth. I go back and forth with my back teeth. I play along. I don't know how I have any teeth left. They're not ground down. They're actually okay. But you drum along in your head. And that's why I don't know the lyrics to any song. It's not that I don't appreciate the lyrics. The lyrics are more of just carrying the medley down the field for me. And I'm so focused on the song. And the lyrics are the last thing for me. And I know it's complete opposite with people.
Yeah.
I'm tapping the drums in my teeth. I'm playing every song with my teeth.
Jesus. See, I've always wondered that. Like, do musicians listen can you enjoy the song? Can you just let it wash over you? Are you always like, oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. I was always curious.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and then it's different with everybody, you know, when you connect with a level, when you connect with somebody like Chris Cornell, then you start, okay, now I got to listen to this. But
right.
You know, we play a little game every Monday, you know, with the song lyrics. We have a guy come in and cut the lyrics for us of these songs. I don't know one lyric of one song. I would never, ever win that game. I am the absolute worst person. I mean, on popular big time songs that I should know. Foo Fighter lyrics. I don't know any Foo Fighter lyrics. I don't know any of them. I mean, do you know song lyrics?
Yeah, because I will listen to a song and I kind of pick it apart in different waves. Because being in radio, you're always listening for a hit. You're like, that's the first thing we always think about in radio is like, is it a hit? I can't just listen to a song and go, it's a cool song. I listen to it and I compartmentalize. Okay, is that going to be a hit on the radio? Yes or no? Okay, no. Do I like the song? Absolutely. I love the song. Do I like the melody, the chorus, the hook, all that? Yeah, okay, cool. Is there some cool music going on in it? Yeah. And then I'll dive into the lyrics. Okay, are they saying something cool? Are they telling a story? Is what they're saying interesting? Does it have layers? Is it, you know, getting a twist at the end of the song? Anything like that? I listen to the lyrics. I dive into the lyrics. If I can find them, and now you can, of course, online, I dig them up. If it's a song I like, you know, so I dive into all of it.
That's kind of what Tessa will do. So we do a lot of world premieres. We'll play a lot of stuff first time in the morning. And I love doing it. And I love being on the spot. And now they know that I'm going to put them on the spot. So we'll play a song and, you know, it could be the new Muse song. It could be a new Imagine Dragon song. It could be something, you know, Wolfgang Van Halen, whatever. Play it on the air. And then it's like, boom, immediately go. One time listen. And we've all been wrong on songs before. Have you ever, I mean, everybody has. You heard a song, it didn't do much for you. And then 3 and 4 times in, then you start to connect with it. So, you know, we'll keep receipts on this stuff. And, you know, if you say, you know, that you didn't like it, and then that song turns out to be something, you know, we can go back and see, you know, where you were at. And we've played that game in radio forever, but Tessa will always say, here's what he's singing about. This is what I got. And I'm so obsessed with listening to the music. and the chord progressions and where, that just, I'm listening for the texture of the song way more than any lyric. I don't hear one thing they're saying unless they're saying it over and over again. And that's funny. Her comment is always, well, this is what I think he's singing about, which I think is kind of cool. I'm like, what? He said that? She said that?
Right.
I don't hear it.
And that's what's great about music, because there's so many layers to a song. That's why you can rip it apart in a million ways. Like it's hard, but like over time you can start focusing. If you're a guitar person, you're gonna listen for the guitar. If you're a drummer, you're gonna listen for the drums the whole way through. I'll like try and pick out stuff and try to focus on it through the song, and I'll play these games with my son who's playing piano now, and we'll talk about songs. And we do the same thing. I'm like, dude, have you heard this song yet? He's like, no, I'm 13. I'm like, good point. And then I go, well, check it out. And we listen to it. And I could be playing old shit. I could be busting on a Black Sabbath tune, a Van Halen song, whatever. And he'll be like, whoa, that's cool. That sound is cool. But the problem with a 13-year-old in this day and age is all those sounds are out there. So he's hearing that Black Sabbath differently than you and I did. When we heard it, all these other sounds didn't exist. Black Sabbath was inventing it. Van Halen was inventing it. Now he hears it. He's like, you listen to Jump, you're like, well, the keyboard's kind of boring. It's easy to play. But that sound of the keyboard in Jump didn't exist until Eddie Van Halen created that sound of the keyboard.
Right.
Playing it's not hard. It's the sound that he created. And my son's just like, yeah, I can just dial that up, dude. What's the big deal? I'm like, oh shit.
I can just hit EV1 right here, and then boom, there it is. I can just hit jump. I can hit the jump, jump button, and my Casio plays it perfectly.
He's like, what's the big deal? This is the simplest song ever. I'm like, oh. It's frustrating, but he still likes the songs and stuff. But it's just interesting when you start picking apart songs like that and you really start digging in. God, it's just so great about music. That's why we talk about it so damn much. And we'll try and talk a little bit less drums next week. Why don't we talk about something, Rod, that we did talk a lot about last week, and that is rock stars being dead.
Yeah.
Now we got nobody listening.
I guess you probably would think that's our favorite thing to talk about. So two big things on this day. It's weird to commemorate this day because on this day, 28 years ago, we didn't know shit. Okay. We didn't know, but it is, and the coroner report comes out. So moving forward, and you're doing an anniversary, it is the anniversary of the death. So 28 years ago in 1994, Kurt Cobain committed suicide. We didn't know until Friday.
Right.
And there's a cool little timetable that you can kind of look up. It's a guy that was on the radio. Alan Cross was my first gig on the radio, and Jason's first gig on the radio. We were on a radio station called The Edge. There was already an Edge in Canada that we could hear clear as a bell every single day. And my first shift was afternoon drive. Well, wait a minute. That's when Alan Cross is on. He's like the fucking smartest music guy in the world. And he used to do afternoons, and he was like one of my favorite dudes to listen to. Yeah. I'm like, I can't go against him. He's going to destroy me. But he's a writer, and he's a musicologist, and he's kind of a music genius. He wrote up a timetable that you can kind of Google, and it says, here is the time frame of what went down. So where I'm going with this is, it's the 28th year anniversary when Kurt committed suicide with a shotgun blast. His body was discovered 3 days later. All the remembrance that we have is that Friday. Yep. So this is playing out on the same days now, okay? He did it on this day. Friday is when 2 p.m., this is before the internet. This is before just nonstop information. We lived in this world. Jason and I were working part-time at the radio station. I was actually at the radio station, probably working down the hall at the AM station. 2 o'clock is when something came over the wire. The wire was a dot matrix printer that was hooked up to a phone line. And it was kind of the same technology as we had kind of with faxes, but it would stream information and it would print it out on its own, dot matrix style. If you can go all the way back to Robin Williams and Good Morning Vietnam, there's those teletype machines. And if you remember, he would go in, he ripped them off, those two machines, brought him to the Twins, and they just crossed everything out what he couldn't say. Would
Right.
you say that was a pretty good? I mean, the AP, we just called it the wire.
Yeah, it was the AP machine. It just kept anything news, and you get your weather, and you get everything, all the national.
You subscribe to it, you subscribe to it. You had the machine, and then your phone number was on their list, and they would send information. And it was the first time through a phone, well, that I know of, that the information came through a phone line, and it was able to print it out. The thing would be going off at 2 o'clock. They said that a body was found on the property of Kurt Cobain. From 2 until about 3:30, 2 or 3 other reports came out that, because they didn't know, he blew his face off. Okay. Right. He was unrecognizable. He was completely unrecognizable. So the first report is a body has been found on at the address of Kurt Cobain. Then I want to say that they said it was a person in their 20s, then a man in their 20s. Then we all knew.
Yep. Then
we all knew, but it wasn't confirmed yet. And then it was 3:30. So the guy that's on the radio in Buffalo, he works 3 to 7, and it's Meltdown. And he goes on with it sometime around 3:30. And that was our John Lennon. That was what people, it was 9/11, before 9/11. It was just, it's a blur after that for me, but I remember the announcement. I remember being there. I remember the announcement being made, turning on Kurt Loder, and I couldn't believe it. It was the first time that, hey, that's our guy. We didn't call him the voice of our generation. I didn't physically call him that. That came out a lot after that. And I didn't disagree with it but I just never verbalized it. I just knew that he was special, but I never gave him that, that he was our Bob Dylan. I never gave him that title while he was alive.
I think afterwards it really started to click for everybody, because it was still so hot. He was 27, Nirvana was still rolling, and Utero was doing great. Everything was happening. Still, everything was happening, right? Everything's moving along. Everything's going great. And then boom, ride's over. And, I think all that stuff did materialize later after he was gone. I remember, I was actually traveling, and I heard the guy on the alternative radio station where I was driving, and he came out and said it, and I had to pull the car off the side of the road. I was like, what? Come on, no way. And then, get to the hotel room, and it's Kurt Loder on MTV News, and confirming it. And it's like, when Kurt Loder spoke back then, he was the Walter Cronkite, to use an older reference. Then Kurt Loder of the music news. He was the guy on MTV, and you just were like, oh, fuck, no way. Well, then then it came out, and then you saw Courtney Love out with all the kids crying and the candles, and it was just awful. But you're right, that was our guy, which is what makes all these past couple of years of losing Chris Cornell, Scott Weiland, Taylor Hawkins, those are our guys. That's not David Bowie. Yeah, David Bowie dying was terrible, but he was much older, and you were like, okay, but he wasn't my guy. We didn't grow up with him. Those guys were all kind of in our wheelhouse as far as age goes. So it did hit different, plus we're playing that shit on the radio. I mean, so there's even more connection for us personally,
It's just weird. I don't remember a whole lot afterwards. And I don't know, maybe this is one of those things when I go to therapy. I've had this discussion. I remember being in the classroom when the space shuttle exploded. And the reason that we watched it was because there was a school teacher on there. So I was in 9th grade, and I remember the room that I'm in. I remember watching it. And then I've talked about this on the anniversary of that. And I said, I don't think we went home. I think we just went on with our school day. It was sad, but you're a dopey kid, and you just kind of go about your thing. Right. I brought it up. Some kids say that they remember going home. It's weird that I remember the event, and it's the same thing with Kurt Cobain. I remember the guy's name on the radio was Meltdown, who made the announcement. I'm sure he played a Nirvana song afterwards. I don't I don't remember sitting in there as he's taking phone calls. I don't remember like trying to be close to it. I don't remember what I did afterwards. And I also don't remember just breaking down and crying either. But is it something that upsets me more than I'm willing to admit? I don't know what happened afterwards. I didn't black out.
No.
But why don't I know the hour after that announcement? I should know what was the reaction of the phone callers and I don't remember the scurrying around in the office. I don't know why everything is a blur to me. And that's a terrible thing. I got a really good memory on a lot of stupid shit. I can tell you that I put a piece of bologna on my face and I bit the hole out of the mouth and the eyes. I remember that.
Right.
But why don't I remember after Kurt, after the announcement? I can't tell you one thing.
I don't know, because I wasn't in the city at the time at the radio station, but we were the Fox then. So we were like more that knuckle dragon, heavy black t-shirt. We weren't exactly an alternative station. A lot of the guys didn't like the alternative stuff that was creeping into the playlist at the time. So I don't know if we sprang into the action and started ripping off about 10 Nirvana songs at the time and making a big tribute and taking calls. I don't know if we did that. I don't know if those guys would have wanted to do that or would have been willing to do that. I know you and I, anytime somebody goes, that's the first thing we jump into action. Okay, we got to start taking phone calls. We got to start playing the music. We got to start digging up information.
Right.
I don't know if those guys did that, but I wasn't there then either. And that was the first one too. So I don't know if anyone knew how to handle that, because that was like, when was the last time prior to that somebody died who was in peak power, like Kurt was and Nirvana was?
Geez, there had to be. I mean, there's been so many rock and roll deaths.
I mean, like the Allman Brothers.
You're right. But
Layne,
that big. I mean, that huge. What was it like being on the radio when you found out that the Leonard Skinner plane crashed or something? I'm trying to liken it up to something big. I don't even know if that happened during the week and what time of day it was. I don't know anything about it. But this was about 3:30, and it's you're getting to that time where everyone's in their car, and I've always found it very strange that I'm just kind of completely foggy after that. And I don't remember being devastated, but I remember it. Wow, this is a big deal. I remember hearing it, and this is going to be a big deal. What do I remember before that? I remember John Lennon, and then I remember Elvis.
Yeah.
I specifically remember. I don't remember how I found out. I just remember my mom telling me. It had to be the day. I don't remember any specific news broadcast or anything about John Lennon. I just remember my mom, saying John Lennon passed away or got killed. And then Elvis was my mom hysterical, screaming on the porch. And, on a hot August day that she's screaming that Elvis died. So those are the three that I remember.
But I don't think at the time, like, Nirvana's always been a weird band for me. I was never like, oh, fuck Nirvana. Whoa. I liked them. I respected them. I appreciated it. And I still like them in the same way. I was never like super Nirvana guy, So it's not like it didn't matter. I just knew, I think it affected me more that it was, like you said, our guy, plus the cultural impact that I knew was happening around that band with the Seattle scene. They were the first ones that really broke through and made it happen. It was the flannel shirts. It was the lifestyle. It was everything. Like, they were so hot when it happened. They were just top of the world, top of mind for everybody.
Everybody knows that he tried to kill himself about a month earlier, and he was unsuccessful. And maybe you just, I can't take myself back. I can't. That's what I can't do. Did I think like, okay, this guy's never going to grow old? I don't know if I knew enough then. I don't know if I had that thought.
I think there were some of us around the radio station that were like, that shocking. But after the incident in Rome where he took the champagne, all the pills, and went to the hospital and stuff, you were kind of like, oh, okay, this guy's a little bit messed up. There's some problems here. There's definitely some problems. So it wasn't like it was shocking, but it wasn't a 100% blow your mind shock. Like Taylor Hawkins, that was like, what the fuck, out of left field. Chris Cornell, even though we knew he had struggled for years with issues with drugs, for the last few years, he seemed like just normal dude, dad guy, out singing songs. That was a shock, Scott Weiland, you're kind of like, yeah, okay. That we were kind of all waiting for that one. That wasn't a shock. It was still sucked, nobody liked it, but you were kind of like, oh, well, damn, I didn't think you'd make it this long, you know? I don't know. The Kurt thing was weird. I don't know if it's just also, we were much younger at that too. Did we not have this sort of mental capability?
I'm 25 years old when it happens.
Right.
I'm 25, 24, whatever. There is something a little bit more powerful about the news being delivered to you. I bet a lot of people did. I mean, I happened to be at the radio station. I bet a ton of people found out from Kurt Loder on MTV News, and then every news organization covered it. It's way more, and this is just old balls thing, but a news story coming out and talking about the death of somebody, or you're just scrolling through your phone and you happen to see it. It's two different vibes, man. I mean, I still, you know, that's how I found out about Taylor. It's like, whoa, you know, I'm scrolling. It's Saturday morning probably. And I'm like, no way, no. But you're in that moment, you're by yourself and you have your phone and you're looking at Instagram. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's just different. When you go back, Kurt Loder, all of this stuff is on YouTube. And, you know, it's not like he did it amazingly, but Kurt Loder was the guy. And I just remember everybody had on MTV, and you just had on MTV 24/7.
Yeah, they kept showing like Seattle, the candles lit around the house. Courtney Love came out in her pajamas and was crying, hugging everybody. It was just weird. I don't think anyone knew what to do, because it was our guy. It was Gen X. It was,
but there was no internet to go and vent. You couldn't tweet about it.
No,
you couldn't get up a picture on your Instagram feed, you know, to make sure that, you know, your 10 followers are going to like it while you're so hip. You're the first one to let me know that somebody passed away. There was none of that.
Right.
It's you were just kind of clamoring in the same areas. I don't know. It was just a lot different. It was just a lot different. It's not that it's not better now. We get so much information so much quicker. But it's just we commemorate this day today being 28 years ago because they identified him by his fingerprints, by the way. His face wasn't recognizable. I hate to be so graphic, but but it was 3 days later.
Right.
So it was Friday that we had found out, and we're talking about something that technically didn't even really happen yet. Now it even gets worse when it comes to on this day, 20 years ago, 2002, Alice in Chains lead singer Layne Staley died of an accidental overdose.
Well,
he was laying there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
You're looking at April 5th, 2002. Okay, that's the day that they determined that he died. 2 weeks he's laying there.
That dude.
And that is stuff that now it's my radio show, and it's how do I handle this? And you know, I've got a pretty decent memory about making that announcement, but I think I don't remember when the news came down. I don't have a good timetable of that day. I just remember covering that big time on the radio in the morning.
The difference was that, you know, he had disappeared in like 1996 or 97 was his last appearance live. He was just gone. He just disappeared off the face of the earth, you know, nothing happened. So it wasn't like Alice in Chains was red hot at the time.
Yes.
You know? And when the news came out, with Layne Staley, we all made jokes on the air about his drug use. When we all did it, we all were like, well, you know, that's Layne Staley. And then, you know, he kind of cleaned up. When they did the MTV Unplugged, if you notice, he's wearing fucking long sleeve shirts and he's covered up. It's because he was still on the smack and his arms were just loaded with holes and shit, right? So he cleaned up enough to get on MTV Unplugged. And after that, he didn't make too many more appearances. And then he just disappeared. And then, you know, he just went away and he dealt with his depression and his drug use. And he cooked up a speedball at the end, and that was that, you know?
Oh, Jesus.
But I mean, how bad is it that you lie there for 2 weeks? You've been dead for 2 weeks and nobody knew. Like, he was obviously a serious recluse at this point. You know, I think, the bass player, Michael Starr?
Yes.
He was like one of the last guys to go see him. And then that was like a conversation. It was like, just don't bother. don't come see me anymore. Because the reports were he was super. I mean, Layne Staley was never a big dude. He was always scrawny, but he was like grossly thin and just nasty, and just in this apartment. So that's just sad.
There was a company that a guy worked, and I think he even did a couple stints, like he guested on some reality TV, and it was called Clean Scene.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That was his business. And I have not talked to this guy since I lived there. So it's been almost 20 years. Clean Scene. I don't think it was, I think that's just what it was called, Clean Scene. So once they were done and the forensics people are done and you get the body or whatever they need to do, it was his job to completely get rid of anything where there's human remains or anything. And he has seen everything. And I asked him, what did they walk into when they saw Layne Staley's body? And they said, well, he would have been completely bloated. Gases would have been building up and his stomach would have been distended. And the other thing that I'd never forget, because I remember interviewing him shortly after that, because we knew what this guy did. It was he had a fascinating job. There wasn't anything that he couldn't clean. He could pull up floorboards. Your body would leak.
Yeah. Oozing.
And it would leak and it would be oozing into, and it was his job. That's what he did. He would pull up floorboards and everything. There would be no trace of anything there when him and his team were done. But he said the other thing that he knows, that was when they walked in on that, you see this body, it's distended. He said the smell would be like nothing you could ever even try to describe to somebody. And he said there would have been 1 million flies in the room.
Oh, geez.
And that's the saddest. I mean, you're talking about a rock star, and just paint that picture for a second. There's nothing more sad. You know, I always find it sad if somebody commits suicide, and I just can't imagine that second before it happens, you just feel like there's no other way and there's nobody out there. But this guy he went through that possibly, and then just another couple weeks go by. That is when he described that to me. Obviously, I'm telling this story that I was told 20 years ago, and it's never left me. I can hear his voice on the phone telling me what the room looked like.
It's awful.
And he didn't clean up the scene. He's just been around this sort of thing. His job was in and around New Orleans. There wasn't anything he couldn't clean up, though. I mean, he knew everything about death.
Yeah.
And it was insane. Murder sites, everything. You can't have one speck of blood anywhere. You've got to pick up the ice machine outside of the stop and go. He's got to jack that up. And he told me all of this stuff that he did.
God.
There can't be anything there. He had to clean it all up. So he knew that stuff pretty good. But yeah, 2 weeks Layne Staley laying there. And that's really sad. But unrelated, it's just crazy that they both died on the same day. Layne Staley was in no way knowing what fucking day it was.
No.
But what the hell, dude? There's 365 days in the year.
Mm-hmm.
And he dies on the same day? Come on.
It's a little weird.
But people don't believe me when I tell them there's just no way. Of course, I wasn't around Layne Staley at the end of his life, but there's just no way he planned it out on that day. Now, the correlation between Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington, well, wait a minute. There are some dates that align, and that stuff is not on accident. I don't believe that for a second. But this one, I really do think it is just a eerie, freakish coincidence.
Yeah, and that was the one that I probably we got more involved with because we were both on the radio at the time. So with Alice in Chains, you were like, fuck. But you know what, the Layne Staley thing was, it didn't shock anybody as far as if you knew anything about Layne Staley. You knew he was on smack. His teeth were gone for years. I mean, he was a mess. So it wasn't like that was like, oh, wow, no way that happened. Hard to believe. It's just so sad how it happened though, you know? And the fact that you're in a band, you've got millions of fans around the world, yet you're just alone at the end, just completely alone. People don't visit you anymore. I don't know if you drove everybody away or how that all worked out, but yeah, it's absolutely terrible, unbelievably terrible. Anyway, it's interesting how they met or how he got involved with Alice in Chains. Layne Staley was in a band called Alice and then the letter N, Chains, for years in the late 80s. And then that band fell apart. He was working at a studio in Seattle. Jerry Cantrell comes in, they meet, they become fast friends. They live in the studio for a while because they just didn't have any money. They jammed, and then Layne Staley went off into a funk band and sang for that. And Jerry Cantrell had a band with what's his name, Mike Inez, the bass player, and then the drummer. What's his name? I can't remember his name.
Sean Kinney.
Yeah, Sean Kinney. They had a band together, and Jerry Cantrell wanted a singer. So what he did was he would set up singer auditions for what would end up becoming Alice in Chains. And he would bring in the world's shittiest singers every time. And he made sure the auditions happened when Layne Staley was there hanging out. Because he wanted Layne Staley.
Oh, that's funny.
And Layne Staley wouldn't fucking join the band. He's like, nah, I got my own thing going on. Nah, I don't want to do it. Fuck you. I don't want to do it. You know? So Jerry Cantrell would purposely bring in the world's worst fucking singers to sing. And then Layne Staley would just sit there and be like, you fucking asshole. You know? One time, Jerry Cantrell brought in a male stripper.
Come on.
He brought in a male stripper to sing and dance around. And Layne Staley finally went, all right, I'll try. I'll do it. And then, you know, obviously after that, they just went through the stratosphere, you know, appeared in singles, performed Wood in the Singles movie with Cameron Crowe. And then, you know, Man in the Box, Facelift comes out. And then Dirt's the album. Dirt is it. That album's so great. Of course, it's all from heroin in the haze of heroin. You listen to the lyrics in that, I know you won't. But when you listen to the lyrics on the Dirt album, it's fucking awful. It's just brutal shit, man. It's brutal.
Yeah, Facelift is when I was in on them immediately, and they didn't know what to do with the band. It was like kind of pre-grunge, you know, that everything was going on.
They were first.
They were, you know, I mean, Soundgarden had stuff out, Nirvana had stuff out before, never mind. Right. But Alice in Chains, you know, I saw them open up for Ozzy. They were kind of a hard rock, and at that time they were kind of classified as like a metal band.
Yeah.
Before all that other stuff kind of caught up to them. And when I heard Facelift, I couldn't believe how great it was. So I saw them open up for Ozzy, and there's a lot of people that didn't see Layne Staley and Alice in Chains, and they toured with Ozzy. He had a broken leg at the time. Yeah. He didn't do the whole Dave Grohl throne or anything like that, but he was sitting, he was standing, you know, he had a cast on his leg, and they were great. I mean, I remember how awesome they were. I loved them. As soon as I heard them, I absolutely loved them. And then I was always an Ozzy fan. So that show was just like a super big deal for me.
What was great about Alice in Chains was the way they melded Jerry Cantrell and Layne's voices together, that harmonizing. That was like, wait a minute, the Beatles, the Everly Brothers, you know, all that old harmonizing. This was a whole new way of doing it. However they figured it out, the way their voices work together. Holy shit. You want to put some headphones on and go listen to some old Alice in Chains where they're both harmonizing. It's unbelievable. It really, really is unbelievable harmonizing and singing together.
Yeah, Jerry Cantrell is singing on almost every song.
Yeah.
Not just the choruses. He's singing on almost every song.
But when they got together, they were just hitting that. It's like, holy shit, these guys got beautiful voices together in a really heavy sort of way. And in Sammy Hagar, I remember Alice in Chains opened up for Van Halen on one of the earlier tours with Sammy that I saw. Well, it wasn't one of the earlier because he was with them in the mid 80s. But in the early 90s, when I saw him, Alice in Chains open, it's because Sammy saw Alice in Chains perform. He's like, fuck, we got to get those guys to open for us. And he asked them, and they went out and opened for Van Halen. And even the guys in Alice in Chains were like, yeah, we don't match up with Van Halen very well. It just wasn't the same world, you know? But it exposed Van Halen playing those sold out arenas all the time, exposed Alice in Chains to a lot of people. And I remember being at the concert, and when Alice in Chains was performing, a lot of people were looking around going, the fuck are these guys doing? They wanted to hear Jump, and they wanted to hear all the Sammy songs. They wanted to hear all the shit. And they're like, these guys are fucking weird. But I remember, because it must have been right after the Ozzy tour, part of the leg, they must have jumped off of Ozzy and went with Van Halen, because he was in a wheelchair pushing himself around and jumping up and down with the cast on his leg too. So he must have been switching over on the tours. But yeah, they were great. I saw him a couple times. And then Jerry Cantrell solo, fucking great too.
Oh yeah. And he'll do Alice in Chains songs, and he sings, I mean, you're like, Jesus, you know, it sounds like Alice in Chains up there, you know, because you've got 50% of the vocals are him. So he can kind of get in and around that stuff. And he always sounded great. Cantrell's solo is great. Alice in Chains, August 21st, 1990. When we first heard Man in the Box and Sea of Sorrow, We Die Young. What an album. What an album. So a super, super sad day in rock. And we're having too many sad days in rock. And right now we really are. We're just having too many of them. And then, to let this day, because today's the actual day, to let this day go by without mentioning those two singers, and now with no Chris, you look at the Flannel 4, and some people call it the Flannel 5 if you want to include, but Stone Temple Pilots wasn't really, from that scene. Right. But they definitely had that sound. They got lumped in with grunge. But, Eddie Vedder, the only guy, the Flannel 4 for me, Eddie Vedder's the only guy standing.
Still. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, geez, man.
And that's what's weird about it for us too, is like our guys are all kind of gone a little bit earlier than they should have been, obviously, like 20 years from now, who do we got left? It's really not
Keith
Gen
Richards.
X, he'll still be around. Gen X burning out fast and hot and fast right there. It's a shame. But that's Seattle sound, man. Those guys are all on the really bad dope and the heroin and shit. So I don't know. Don't do drugs. Is kind of the point here.
Don't do drugs. All right. We're going to take a short break. We're going to talk about our great sponsor, Pirates of the Quarter. And then for Jason to stamp this one, okay, let's do that. I still don't believe we're going to do our favorite Hall and Oats songs, top 5.
It is weird.
I did not expect you. I mean, it's to the point where I don't even get my feelings hurt anymore. I'm just like sending these things along. And then when you okay that, I'm like, what?
I thought it'd be fun to talk about Hall and Oats. I don't know why. I mean, we've talked about death. At least we can get off of that for a little while. Jesus.
We could have done a top 5 Alice in Chains songs.
Probably should have.
I laid it all out for you. I had all these different things, and you went with the Hall and Oats. I'm okay with it, dude. I'm okay with it.
We'll do.
All right, we're going to get into some Hall and Oats. So duly warned. All right. Hey, listen, when you go to New Orleans, I can't wait to get back. I got to get back there very, very soon. Yeah. Be sure and book a tour in the French Quarter, the world famous French Quarter, Pirates of the Quarter. They got a walking tour. It's fun. It's loaded with tons of information. There's no tour like it in the French Quarter. Grab a drink. You're walking the streets. You're getting this crazy pirate telling you all these wild stories, but they know their history and they're telling you how it really happened. They don't need to make lies. The stories are that good on their own. So they're telling you all these crazy stories of real pirates and their involvement in the history of how New Orleans came to be. So you're going to be surprised. You're going to be blown away at this stuff. There's so much more to New Orleans than just Bourbon Street. They're going to take you off the street. They're going to show you some great things, but you're all going to be walking around. You're going to be partying and having a good time. So I get it. You want to go, you want to party balls, but save a little time and discover the pirate history of New Orleans. Details at the piratesofthequarter.com and at Pirates of the Quarter.
Hall and Oats, dude. I didn't know this until I looked it up after you said that we should do a Hall and Oats top 5. I didn't know they went into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2014. I had no idea they were there. I didn't know.
Go for that. No can do. I know they went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because I work with one Rob Skinner, and he's our promotions guru, and he is the biggest Hall and Oats fan in the world. He went to the ceremony.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
And he'll be quick to tell you that was the same year that the E Street Band went in, and there's fucking 40 of them, and they all went up and used all their time. So it's one thing when HBO focuses it down and you watch the Rock Hall and you're even a little bored with the speeches then.
Right.
He said being there live is absolutely brutal, but it was worth it. Those were his guys going in. When we're done, I will tell you his 5 favorite Hall and Oats songs that we've never heard before.
I was going to say, there's no
They've been around, dude. I mean, when I'm looking at my list, I'm like, you know what? The 80s, they were a huge MTV band. but they were around starting in like 72, 73. So, and then they had stuff after that. They really have had an unbelievable career. They're unbelievable songwriters, super talented. And just to bring it around to you, you know, we had heard rumors all these years, and then boom, backed up by Daryl Hall himself. He was approached by Eddie Van Halen to sing in Van Halen. Yeah. I'd always heard that before. Never thought for a second it was real. And Daryl Hall has confirmed that story.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? They're like at a party or backstage, and Eddie Van Halen's like, hey, you know, we need a singer. Would you do it? Daryl Hall's like, I kind of got my own thing happening, dude. But can you imagine what that would have sounded like? That would have been kind of interesting, you know? I kind of, you know what, going back to, you know, we'll get into this in a second. That's the shame of Van Halen. Why didn't they work with more people and just fucking like do the Dave Grohl thing where he's working with everybody? I mean, I know he did Beat It for Michael Jackson, but they didn't step out of those brothers' bounds at all.
No, they didn't. I mean,
do four songs with Daryl Hall. How could you imagine how that would have sounded? You know, there's so much that was left out there, you know?
He did Beat It, but didn't want his name on the record. He didn't want anybody to know it was him. Well, when you hear, it's like, okay, that's Eddie. Yep. Why is his name out there? We know who that is. He didn't want to do any of that stuff. He didn't want to collab with people. He didn't want to hang out and jam with other people. He wanted to jam with his brother.
Weird stuff. You know, the funny thing, and I don't know if people realize this, is that the 1984 album, right? It never made it to number one. The 1984 album went to number two. It couldn't get past the Thriller album from Michael Jackson. Eddie Van Halen kept Van Halen out of the number one spot. I mean, in theory, because he played the guitar solo on Beat It. So here he is. He's like, I can't get to number one because my other song is keeping us out. It's fucked up.
So where are you at with Hall and Oats? I mean, you appreciate them. You like them. You're a closet like super fan. I mean, where are they for you?
I respect the shit out of them because I think, you know, Daryl Hall, you know, everyone says he's got one of the most soulful voices out there, and he just does have a great voice. And I mean, who can hand clap better than Oates in Private Eyes? I mean, he's a hand clapping fool in that song. It's good.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Now, so you're downplaying Oates.
No, I'm just saying that, you know, I like him. I don't own any Hall and Oates. I don't believe. If it's on, I'll listen to it. I like.
Come on, you don't have Hall and Oates greatest hits?
I don't think so. No.
Hall and Oates greatest hits, man. I remember going on a road trip somewhere and we just stopped at the wherever to go get some beef jerky. And I'm like, okay, time to grab a shitty cassette. And we would grab a cassette. And I remember getting Hall and Oates and listening to it on the way to Cleveland or something like that with a bunch of idiots and just singing every song. I got a pretty healthy love for Hall and Oates. I think I have two other albums, old ones, that I picked up afterwards. But yeah, I'm more of a Hall and Oates greatest hits kind of guy. So my stuff's going to be fairly obvious and it's going to be pretty well known.
Oh, mine are definitely all hits. I don't have any B-sides or deep catalog, deep Hall and Oates cuts. You know,
then we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on this. Go ahead.
What I was going to say is, you know, fuck. And again, even with Hall and Oates, this wasn't easy. Fuck these lists, dude. Hate these things, and they're so great.
What about their guitar player? What about G.E. Smith? You remember him
from Saturday
Night Live? The kind of weird-looking guitar player, and then he went over to Saturday Night Live. He's supposed to be like this unbelievable virtuoso guitar guy. He was in Hall and Oates band for a long time.
I didn't know that. Look at this. We learn something new every day in this podcast.
G.E. Smith was on all of those MTV hits. He was, I mean, they were always fucking standing in a living room somewhere playing their song, you know? Yeah. But that's, you know, G.E. Smith, even Jingle Bell Rock. That's G.E. Smith. Oh, wow. He's doing the solo on that.
Well, let's bring it back around to Van Halen because, you know, we can't get out of a podcast without talking about Van Halen. G.E. Smith, when Valerie Bertinelli hosted Saturday Night Live years ago, Eddie Van Halen showed up and he was on one of the greatest skits of all time they did called Dinner at the Van Halens.
Van Halen Dinner Party. Awesome.
It was so great because they had the roadies and Eddie Van Halen's just smoking a cigarette and fucking laughing through the whole bit. It's so great. Find it on YouTube. It is such a great bit. Even today, it's funny as shit, especially
You know what? I don't think it's easily.
They hide that shit.
I don't know how easy it is to find, dude.
I've seen it. Well, then Eddie Van Halen gets up and jams with G.E. Smith, and he does this piece of music, and it was fucking amazing. And that's the only time I ever heard it. And it was really cool. He just came out. They just did a jam. Now, he wasn't the musical guest. G.E. Smith went to Lorne Michaels and said, hey, we got Valerie here. Eddie's coming. We got to fucking jam. We got to do something on stage. And Lorne said, okay, go work something up. And Eddie sort of had this piece of music that he said, hey, can we do something like this? And G.E. Smith's like, yeah. And then G.E. Smith, being a genius, they arranged it together. They ran it through a couple of times, and they fucking went out and did it. And it's so cool. It's a great piece of music. And they're jamming. They're two guitar gods going back and forth. It was really, really cool. And then there's an interview years later that G.E. Smith talks about this moment. He goes, Eddie Van Halen was great. It was so great to get to play with him on stage on Saturday Night Live like that and get us and being able to do that bit. He goes, Eddie was so fucking mad because he messed up a little part in the jam. No one knows it. No one would know it. No one would understand it. No one would catch it. Eddie Van Halen was so pissed off afterward that he missed a little piece. And G.E. Smith's like, dude, we just killed it out there. It's a piece of music nobody's ever heard. He was so fucking pissed. So, Eddie was a perfectionist. He wanted it to be right. Even something like that. Maybe that is why he never jammed with people. Who knows?
He did sit in with Paul Schaefer too a couple times.
Yeah,
Letterman.
Which was cool. Yeah.
So rare. He did. It's not like he didn't do anything. But G.E. Smith, 1979 to 1985, he played lead guitar for Daryl Hall and John Oates, and then T-Bone Walker was also on bass back then.
They had swinging bands. They had great musicians, but then all their stuff was this just poppy, sugary stuff. Yeah, best-selling duo of all time, surpassing the Everly Brothers in 1984.
Okay.
Yeah. Fun facts. We're just laying it out there today. Rod, okay, I should get to my top five. A song that I always loved as a kid. It was on the radio all the time. Kiss on My List.
Good one.
Like it. I like it. I got nothing to say about it. It's just fucking pop, bubblegum. It's just cool. And very catchy, great pop song.
G.E. Smith, because that's 81. So that's in G.E. Smith's era on guitar.
Number 4, Rich Girl. She's a rich girl. I just thought
number 4.
Number 4.
Okay.
I like that song. Again, I got nothing behind it. These are pop songs. I don't know much about them. They're exactly what they do. Their job. They're pop. They make you feel good, and then you forget about them. It's pop music. Number 4, Rich Girl. Number 3, Out of Touch. I liked Out of Touch a lot.
I never liked it.
Really? Okay.
Never liked it. It's not in my top 5. I never liked that song.
You're out of touch. I'm out of time. However that went. Anyway, again, I got nothing. I don't know these songs that well, but I love them. Number 2, You Make My Dreams Come True.
Okay.
Great song. Again, bubblegum, pop, not much to say. And now my number 1, Private Eyes. Oates on the hand claps. Private Eyes. They're watching you.
That's your number 1?
I love Private Eyes. I loved it. It's just got a great hook. It's just fun. I don't know why. It's just, I've always liked that song. I guess, you know what it was? It was so on the radio, driving around the car in the back seat with mom driving, cranking Private Eyes. It was probably a hit at the time whenever it came out. And I'm sure it was on at the house. I'm sure my mom had the vinyl or the, well, it wasn't on CDs. It would have been the vinyl.
I feel like I can see that video playing.
Yeah, fucking Oates is clapping. That's his job.
Yeah.
He grows a
Are they in the living
mustache.
room? Are they wearing sweaters?
Probably.
Is Daryl Hall wearing like big, huge shoulder pads underneath his jacket?
With his weird
they had a look there. Well, okay. Yeah. I'm glad that our lists are different.
Yeah.
And there's some duplication here, and that's okay.
And then I had one song. I'm sure it's going to be on your list. I didn't put it in my top 5, but I'm sure you put it in yours. But I'll go for it, and I want to hear this.
All right. In at number 5, You Make My Dreams Come True. Ooh, 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 ooh. Great song. You had it at number 2. I got it in at 5. Okay, we're on the same page with that. That's a great song. 1980
came out.
Number 4, Kiss is on my list. We're 1 off on that. You got it in at 5. I got that in at number 4.
That's something about that. Like the lyrics. Think about that. Hey, girl, your Kiss on my list. You may not be at the top, but I'm coming for you. I like the lyrics there. Again, the Voices album, pretty hot. 1980, same album.
And that's right when they start working with G.E. Smith.
Gotcha.
Number 3, their biggest hit, their biggest charting hit, Maneater. I fucking love Maneater.
Fucking hate it.
Here she comes. Watch out, boy. She'll chew you up. You don't even have that in your top 5?
I didn't. I hated that. I always hated that song. I hated it. I
didn't like Out of Touch. I really thought Out of Touch sucks. Maneater is awesome.
Why are you eating men? What are you doing? I don't get the song. At the time,
it's a metaphor. It's New York City. It's chewing them up and spitting them out. I mean, they just had to make it more relatable and tie it into a chick. But here's me not into the lyrics, knowing that it's got to be more than that.
Right.
And it was. So it's about, the city, getting after you a little bit. I think that's their biggest hit as far as chart success. I have it in as my number 3. I go way back for my 2 and my 1. I go back to 1973 for both of them.
Whoa.
Number 2, Rich Girl. Awesome song. You had it at 4.
Yeah, I did.
That's my number 2. And my number 1 was not on your list.
It's the one
It's not even a fucking question, man. She's gone.
She's gone. Great song. I should have that on my list.
She's gone. I mean, that note that he hits.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever seen that video, stop what you're doing right now and go and look at the fucked up video they made for that song in 1973. It is out there.
I never saw it. Well, 73.
It's awesome, dude. You'll love it. I'm telling you, you will love it.
From their album Abandoned Luncheonette.
So
73.
So She's Gone and Rich Girl got to be on that album. They both got to be on that same album because I think those are both 1973.
Oh, man. See,
dude, She's Gone. It's not even a question that She's Gone is not my favorite song. Now, of course, I need to go brush up on this stuff. So when I'm looking like for, okay, what are people saying like are the best Hall and Oats songs? She's Gone is not on any lists.
No.
It's like their Stairway to Heaven. I couldn't believe that. I had a hard time digging to find people that were recognizing that. And I knew before I opened up one web browser that was going to be my number 1 Hall and Oats song.
It didn't really do well on the charts. It wasn't a massive hit back then. It's just a great song. They wrote it, and this will be hard to realize once I tell you why they wrote a song called She's Gone. They were both going through heartbreak. In fact, Daryl had just gotten divorced from his wife at the time, and John was going through some girl trouble as well. So they got together, poured their hearts into a great song called She's Gone. I gotta look at this video, man. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, all I'm seeing is some live stuff. I remember some weird couches.
Every video.
I remember like some really weird 70s shit. I'm looking at a Hall and Oats 1976, like a live performance. No. There's some sort of a promotional She's Gone Hall and Oats official video.
They play it at every concert. They say it's one of their favorite ones to perform.
Oh, here we go.
They're harmonizing.
Here we go. So what you need to do is you need to pull up, I guess, Hall and Oats She's Gone official video. Oh man, it's awesome.
That's great. I bet it's great.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out later.
Take a second and go check this out. I mean, yeah, they're on these big chairs. It's 1973.
It's just cheese. It's got to be great.
I thought there was like a fucking leopard. Maybe not. I don't know. I haven't seen it in 20 years. Where's the leopard? I thought there was some sort of a large cat in this video. Maybe not. They looked cool, man. They were rockers, dude. Like in the 70s, they had long ass hair and stuff. I mean, they were cool as shit looking.
Yeah, they had a resurgence in the 80s with all the pop stuff, and that's what everybody knows them from. Nobody knows it's like, nobody really knows their 70s shit. It's all the 80s pop stuff. That's where I know, and I do love, She's Gone is my bubbling under. But I
couldn't believe how many lists I look at. They were not even, it just wasn't in any, it was in very few, if any, top 10s. Rob Skinner, the guy that I told you that went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony to see his boys go in. I was on him. He's like, come on. He's working on his fucking pool filter. I go, I don't give a fuck about your pool filter. Give me your list. He's like, GD, I'm installing a new filter system right now. Jeez. Give me a minute. Here it is. Is there anything that we know? I ain't going to take it this time.
Nope.
Say It Isn't So.
Say It Isn't So. Yeah, that was a hit. Yep.
Tell Me What You Want. It Doesn't Matter Anymore. And Go Solo. He said, this is not a list I'd use to introduce someone to Daryl Hall and or John Oates' catalog. That's my faves as of today. Tomorrow could be different. You say that every week.
Yep.
And he said, it was tough not to put You Make My Dreams Come True on the list. That's the 45 that sucked him into the machine, he said.
Wow. I've never known a huge Hall and Oates fan like that. That's just pop music to me. That's not what I was into in the early 80s. I was all in the heavier shit, The Hall and Oates was on in the house. I think my mom was playing it. That's where I probably heard most of it. And then never really thought much about it. If I hear it on the radio now, I'm like, oh, cool. Hall and Oates, nice. Don't care.
Did you say, now I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Cool.
Because I'm ready to wrap up. Is there any way that you can run your phone that we can hear something on the show today? Is there any way that you'd be able to make a phone call?
Ooh, that I don't know.
Okay, then I'm just going to hold
technology there. Yeah, I don't think I have that figured out yet. I just got some new gear in case anyone's wondering, and that's how I was able to play the stuff from earlier in the podcast back. I got to do a little more experimenting. One thing you need to know about me in radio is I've been in radio for 10,000 years. I couldn't tell you how any of this shit works. Uh-oh. This ought to be good. You fucking calling me? We're already talking to each other. So what's happening is Rod is dialing the phone and making a phone call.
Okay, let's.
Welcome to Hall and Oats, your emergency Hall and Oats helpline. To hear one-on-one, please press 1. To hear Rich Girl, please press 2. To hear Man-Eater, please press 3. To hear Privatize, please press 4.
I'm going to go with 2.
Okay.
You're a rich girl, and you're gone.
Dude.
You know it don't matter.
Oh, God.
Are you listening to me right now?
You can call a phone?
Hall and Oats.
Come on.
Hall and Oats. And you can do it too at home, kids. 719-266-2837. Hall Oats.
Just for an emergency.
And you can get Hall and Oats. It's your emergency Hall and Oats helpline that is available 24/7. And I have not thought of this in 20 years.
Still works.
Hall and Oats.
Still works.
Yeah.
Wow. I wish you would have done private eye so I could have heard the hand claps.
Again, Hall and Oats, 719-266-2837. Your Hall and Oats emergency helpline.
Oh my God, dude, that is messed up. That's funny though. It's so
I'm
great.
So happy that worked. I can't believe I tried that, and it's still a thing.
That is unbelievable. So Rod, final thoughts here. I just got something real quick. With all we've been doing is talking about death the last couple of episodes. So next week, can we not? But it got me thinking. Because
I'd like to do an entire podcast and not talk about anybody dying. That would be awesome, dude.
Let's really work hard next week to not have it be.
I'm going to write that down. So it would be episode. Okay, episode 48. So can we not even mention anybody that's dead? Ooh, that means you can't say Eddie Van Halen.
Can't say. Boy, there's a lot we can't say next week. Anyway, we'll work that out. So I started thinking. I'm like, oh fuck, like suppose everyone's going to go that way at some point. Think about all the shit on your computer. A lot of people got a lot of bad shit on their computers, right?
Oh no, I got a cleaner. How's my cleaner?
You got a guy that'll come in?
I got Hal.
Just boom. Like you've made a pact. Like if he, you know what I mean? Like is that what
Hal knows. Yeah. He knows that there will be a treasure map, and he will be able to go in and blow up everything.
All the filth. Wow.
I don't really have that set up, but I've discussed it before, and I'm like, Hal, would you be my cleaner? He's like, of course I'll go in there and I'll do whatever I have to do. I'll figure out how to blow up your computer.
Like think about all the shit on people's phones and you know, all the pictures of just the dirtiest shit you probably gotten videos on people's phones and on their computers and their laptops and their iPads. Like you kick that shit's sitting around. Now you got passwords, but I'm sure someone can figure out your password. And then, as they're going through your shit, they're like, oh, you were a dirty, dirty little pig. Like that's embarrassing shit right there. Of course you're dead. You don't care. But
I mean, okay. I mean, I definitely wasn't planning on talking about this, but you know, after my dad passed away, he was a single dude. You know, I found his box of porn. I got it out of there before everybody saw it. I grabbed it and got it out of there.
Yeah.
And then I took it and it became mine. It was kind of cool. I mean, it's like, okay, you know, it's like passed on down from the old man.
Mm.
But yeah, I went in and cleaned my dad's house a little bit. I didn't want my sister finding that stuff. Again, my dad was a single guy, lived by himself. Yeah, there were some things I wanted to get out of my dad's house. So, right. I'm your boy, dude. I got you.
Right. Yeah. So I'll just like say I'm the guy for you. I will go check under the bed for the penis pumps right away and be like, okay, get this.
There you go.
Here, you know, all that stuff. Gotcha. I just was thinking about it. I'm like, oh God. So you know what I did? I knew shit off my fucking stuff right away. I'm like, in case I don't know why I freaked out. I was like, oh God, well, let me throw.
I don't think I really have any.
I don't have a lot of.
I'm sure there's probably something somewhere that you could probably dig up, but I mean, I definitely don't got any shitty pictures on my phone. Like, if I die, you go through my phone, you're just see pictures of my kid. That's all you're gonna see.
That's all I got. You know, or I got dumb shit that I make for the podcast pictures. So I've got all these weird fucking pictures and weird shit. But other than that, yeah, my shit's pretty clean anyway. I don't have a lot of weird shit that would be brutal, you know. But I know there's a lot of people listening that probably got a ton of shit.
Well,
do private eyes, please. Do private eyes. Hit number 4.
To hear 1-on-1, please press 1. To hear it go, please press 2.
What do you want?
To hear Manny, please press 3. To hear private eyes, please press 4.
Why is she British?
That's 719-266-2837. Hall and Oats, your emergency Hall and Oats helpline.
I do like that, man. I just messed up. That is really messed
Dude,
up.
Like right now, kind of like how I'm killing on this podcast.
Right.
This will kill at a party, bro. Oh, look at Rod. He's calling Oats. Look at Rod. He's calling Oats right now. You get it? You get it? Calling Oats.
But you're not just
because the name is Hall and Oats.
Oats. You're calling both of them.
I'm calling Oats.
There's the hand clap. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
So I'm just saying, if you want to kill at your next party and you get a little jealous of the guy that whips out the acoustic guitar and all the gals think that he's kind of cool because he kind of just riff and noodle a little bit on that guitar.
Right.
You dial 719-266-2837. You put that bad boy on speaker. Calling Oats will get you some leg for sure.
It could be the greatest phone number in the world. Like, I don't remember any phone numbers anymore.
I can't believe it still works. I'm so happy.
Like, I don't memorize phone numbers anymore because it's all on your phone. And I may memorize that one. You know what? I'm going to put that one in my phone. So
put it in your phone. Dude, why would you not have Calling Oats in your phone?
Because I just learned about it 5 minutes ago. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I am going to be busting out some Calling Oats now.
I don't remember the last time we did a podcast, and this is 47.
Yeah.
When there was just such a fucking bow put on it at the end. Like, okay, we just got done wrapping this thing. And then the Calling Oats bow that I packaged this whole thing up in. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself. You know what? Final thoughts. Bam! Hall and Oats.
Hall and Oats, man. That's all we need to do. Good luck in the golf tournament. I know that's happening tomorrow.
Oh boy,
this will be released on Thursday, so I just want to say that to you. Good luck. I know you're going to do a lot of great things with the money for charity. What's the charity, Rod? Where's the money going?
It goes to some Texas Adaptive Aquatics, and what they do is they get young people, kids. They get people out on the water to water ski and stuff. People that are in wheelchairs and can't walk. They've got all these adaptive chairs and everything, and they get them to do things that they thought they were never going to be able to do. Whether they did it before if they had an accident, if they, if this condition was something that happened when they didn't have a disability, or if they've been struggling with these things their whole lives, but they just do some amazing things with people in wheelchairs, and it's an unbelievable program. But the thing that's the beauty of working with them, the beauty and the thing they just don't get any extra funding. They don't get any government funding or anything. This golf tournament is what keeps them. It puts gas in the boats, and what keeps the program around for another year. No golf tournament, no season of working with these young people. So this golf tournament is everything to them. And it's the one thing that keeps the lights on. And it's just an awesome thing.
That's awesome. That is very, very cool. Awesome, dude. Well, that's all I got tonight. I'm done. I've had it. I'm going to go put that number in my phone now, and then I'll be ready for the next party. I'll be ready.
You thought you were dropping tens, and you never busted out Hall and Oats on anybody.
I've never had to.
I'm just saying. I don't know that you're just dropping tens. This is next level kind of stuff. Okay, I'm just saying this is next level.
You know what? You showed up. You brought it today. I will give you credit. I will finally give you some credit. You brought it today. You came in with a wound. Show me the wound again. Come on, that's big.
Oh yeah.
Oh, fucking gross. You brought a wound and you brought Hall and Oats, dude. You got a 10 today. I'd say that's a 10. Oh, that's watch on YouTube. Definitely watch on YouTube, because this is so much better when you can watch it live. Ugh.
You know who doesn't have one of those?
Me. I don't have
the 8-year-old that I was skating with today, Emmett next door. He has no war wounds, but Old Man River next door has got one.
Did you hit a fucking stone or something, or just
No, I was just trying to, tip tappy around. I wasn't even like in the middle of skating. I was trying to do things, working on my 360.
So you didn't drop in yet, is what you're saying. That's not a drop in.
No. I'm not dropping in for a little bit yet. I'm not ready for drop-ins.
It looks like it. No. All
right, guys. Thanks for checking this out. At Playpants Pod on all the socials. Download, subscribe, please. Is anybody going to leave their list for their top Hall and Oats songs? I mean, just let us know that you call in Oats. Let us know that you called.
That number's gonna get a lot of hits now. All right.
It's still not tied to a sponsor or anything. It goes right into it. Who's paying for that?
I don't know. Nobody's paying for this fucking podcast. I know that. Same thing.
Well, all that money we get from those pirates. All right, guys. Thank you so much for checking this out.
Let's go. It's time. Find us wherever you listen to podcasts. See us on our YouTube channel and follow our social media pages at Playpants Pod.